Nakia here yet? No. Frankie's here though. Yay.
Hey.
Hi. All right, we got one more minute. Okay. I hear it. I don't see it.
No.
Oh, Sarah. I forgot about Sarah. We still need Nakia.
Did I show up?
Yeah. We don't see you yet. We just see your name.
Oh, okay.
But Sarah, I did remember to push record.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Sarah has to leave us. There she is.
There I
Sarah has to
am.
leave us at 7 tonight. So. All right, let's go ahead and get started. I think it's time. All right, I hope everyone's had a good week, and I know you look forward to this week. Is everybody finishing on Friday? No. Aisha says no. Who has students after Memorial Day? A few of you. That stinks. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Anyway, most of our students are finishing up this week. I don't know of anybody that has to go next week in Bibb County, not even the private schools. But I always like to start class by talking about the assignments that were due last. So I want you to share what your ideas were for your programs that you're planning to be writing and working and researching and all that good stuff. So let's just go down in alphabetical order, starting with Jordan. Tell people about your program.
Okay, my idea was it was actually started, but it stopped because there were so many problems and teachers not really committing. But I want to start a mentoring program at my school for teachers and students who are at risk of not they're at risk of moving on to middle school but not really finishing high school. And basically it only worked for like a year, and then like whenever teachers realized that they had to provide all the stuff in the program for themselves, they already supply their classroom pretty much, but once they realized that they had to personally finance all the stuff that was part of the program, like all the purposes of the program, a lot of them would not do a second year because they couldn't afford to. So my needs assessment is to find ways to prevent that so that teachers will stay in the program, because that was the main reason that teachers wouldn't do it a second year, is because they couldn't afford to provide all the stuff that was needed for the mentees and stuff.
Yeah, that they're already giving their time, and then they were also going to give materials and snacks and all that type of thing.
Yeah, and they once they realized that they were responsible for getting the snack and chat stuff and the breakfast stuff, it became a lot, because there are requirements like you have to do snack and chats twice a month, a breakfast with your mentee once a month, and they had to provide all of that. So a lot of them would stop the program early, or they would move their mentee off to another teacher who was still doing it, and there was a bunch of like little things that could be tweaked, especially if there was money coming in or donations coming from other areas. I just feel like teachers would stay in it if all of the goodies and stuff were provided by like a third party.
Okay, great. All right, Jessica.
Mine is pretty much has been started at my school as well. My school is moving towards like a more personalized learning. And some classrooms have like 10 devices, like surfaces. Well, we just changed them to laptops. Where my class, I only have 5 laptops. So I'm proposing to get 25 laptops for each student to kind of like drive that personalized learning like using, outside programs and like Epic and stuff like that. So.
Hey, good. Frankie.
Mine is called the Wildcat Book Club because our school's emblem or symbol is Wildcats. And it's for the students only in second grade that have low test scores, low achievement. It's meant to build interest in reading, and it includes them receiving a personal library, projects, unit activities, author studies, and local community leaders.
Good. And she has a name for her, so this next time when she's working on her marketing plan, she's kind of on her way with what that might be. So that's good. By the way, Shani Gonzalez has dropped out of the class. If any of you knew Shani or know Shani, I'm not sure why she dropped, but she dropped both classes, so she's not taking any classes this semester. Megan.
So my program is a keyboarding and typing program. My school is an elementary school, Title I, and our students are going to be taking the Georgia Milestones next year for the first time on the computer. And most of our students do not have any keyboarding or typing skills. And part of the Georgia Milestones for them is writing, and they have to write a 5-paragraph essay. So thinking about that for them, just getting them to write a 5-paragraph essay on paper is hard enough because of their some of their low academic skills. So if we can get one thing out of the way with them being able to type, then that's one less thing that they would have to worry about when they're on the computer next year. So that program would be for 2nd through 5th graders, so that we can get the 2nd graders already kind of ahead of the game. So when they start testing in 3rd grade, they already have a little bit of proficiency in that.
And does anyone's school already have something like that in place? Thought y'all might have some good typing programs you might be able to suggest.
Well, it's not a typing program. Do you all have the handwriting without tears? Because
My
if
kids are doing
the handwriting without tears, it has the computer program where the kids can get on and practice with typing.
So that's something you might want to look at, Megan. Thank you, Frankie.
You're welcome.
All right, Cynthia. I think it's Cindy though, right? Where is she? There she is. Are you Cindy or Cynthia?
Cindy.
Cindy, okay.
We have a lot of OSS and ISS days at our school because of negative behaviors that affect the instruction time in our classroom, and we see that most of it, or after taking the class that we took last semester about social and emotional learning, that I think a lot of it stems from our children not having those skills. And so I would like to have more professional development and just bring to light to all of the staff members the research behind it, and how we might try to implement some of those things in our school to help our kids to be more productive in their work and more successful in life in general, because I think that's what keeps them from achieving or, having more success in school, is because it's not necessarily their IQ or the academic level. To me, it's more of want to, but learning how to grab onto that intrinsic motivation. So that's where I would like to be able to do a program like that.
So Cindy's is really different from everybody else's because hers is just on professional development. Still a great focus, but I thought that was interesting.
Thank you.
Okay, Jamie.
My program would be centered around Georgia Milestone test scores. And so it would be like a tutorial that the kids would go to before school starts.
Okay, tell a little bit more about that though.
So I would have to get the teachers to buy in. It would be during their contractual hours, but it would just be when they first get there until the bell rings. And it
Okay.
would be for any student that would like to participate.
Okay, so it will be optional. Is that what we're thinking?
Yes.
Okay. Are they going to be selected based on test scores, or are they self-select?
We would target those kids, but being at a Title I school, the kids that you need there most of the time cannot get there. So we would open up to everyone and just encourage those bottom 20% of those kids to come.
Okay. And just something interesting, Jamie started with a different program, and then after she went into it a little bit deeper, decided to change her focus. So that was interesting. Okay, Kaisha.
Okay, my program is, I don't even know if it's a program, but it's about providing flexible seating in my classroom and maybe throughout the school. A lot of schools still have like the standard square desk. Luckily this year, mine has like this like heart-shaped desk, which made it easier to work in pairs or groups. But I know the new school I'm going to this year definitely has like the square desk, and they still have the desks that are connected to the chairs. So it's harder to collab, and they are pushing for collaborative work. So I want to provide the flexible seating in my classroom, which also puts responsibility on the students and makes them feel more comfortable and makes them feel like it's their personal space, and maybe some more accountability will come from that.
Okay, by flexible seating, do you mean where they choose to sit or the type of seating?
The type, and it would be choice both ways, the type of seatings, and then, I mean, they won't always have that seat for the year, so it's pretty much where they choose to, but the type of seating.
And does anyone use flexible seating as far as low chairs, tables, mats? Okay, Robin, tell us a little bit a couple. Robin, tell us about yours.
I love it. So, I'm a special ed teacher. I co-teach, and my co-teacher, it was kind of her idea. We have low tables where students sit on basically like chair cushions that are on the ground. We have other low tables that have these really cool rocker seats. I don't know.
I know exactly. Yeah.
You can get them at Walmart. We had some big balls, like yoga balls that they would sit on. That was disastrous after the meet and greet. It took us like 30 minutes of the meet and greet before we put those in the closet and tried to not go with those. We have those little round stools from IKEA. So they're smaller, they don't have a back. The kids love those. Those are sitting at tables. Some of those sit at desks. And then we do have one set of 4 desks together with standard chairs, and we have a large table with standard chairs. And you could really kind of tell at first we picked who sat where. And we could tell right off who preferred what type of seating. Some cannot handle the rocker chairs. It's really interesting. You get to kind of see who needs what and who can handle what. But we love it. It's been really beneficial for them.
So there you go, Kaisha, somebody who's using it. Who else said they were using it? Is that it? Oh, there's one. Sarah, tell us about yours.
Well, I did use it, but I agree with what Robin said. You find out really quickly who can handle which type of chair. Mine was kind of set up more like a cafe with some lower tables with 4 seats, and then some higher tables that were like bar top tables with 2 seats that were taller, and then I had some comfy, cushy chairs, and then some regular desks too. But there were students that were taking, I don't know, it was too much like a cafe, so that they couldn't get work done without chit-chatting with their neighbors. And so those students, I would have to say, you have to sit in the regular desk because you cannot behave when you sit in this flexible seating.
Yeah. Yeah, and I had a school that I was lucky to get to start. So we started as a brain-based school. So we had flexible seating and electric lighting and everything throughout the school. And you have to have very close parameters. It has to be a privilege type setup, but it was awesome. And many of those teachers still use it today, even though the principals changed several times. So I'm excited about that one. All right, Robin, tell us about yours.
So I'm a little different than everybody else. We're doing a field trip grant.
Actually, there's two of y'all doing that.
Are there two? Okay. So Megan and I work together, and we teach third grade on the same team. And as she said, it's a Title I school. A lot of our kids don't have a lot of opportunities to go and do outside of school. They don't have the money to go to, museums, sports things, theaters. But we have about 20% of our students that are sort of well off, and they go do these things. So it's weird in the classroom when you have discussions, because some have tons to talk about these types of things, and some kids have never been exposed to a lot of things. And so our main problem is we never really have any good field trips in third grade. We've been doing these extremely lame, as Megan knows, Georgia habitats, where they come to us in the classroom and they teach us things. It's so boring. We go to a park twice a year. Kids go to parks. Like it's nothing special. So that funding was cut for next year. And it was going to cost our kids a lot of money for these lame field trips. So we just decided not to do it. So I am going to apply for a grant at the Georgia Aquarium, and hopefully get a day there. We're super excited. Can't wait.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. I lost my spot. Sorry. Antoinette.
Good evening. Okay, so I started off with something else. I started off with the program that I'm currently sponsoring. However, it is an academic component with it, because we do have STEM lessons every other week. UPS comes in and does STEM with our students. However, I didn't feel like it was really, after reading the materials, it was really hitting that academic component. So I wound up changing. And so I'm just going to be very honest with you. I'm still feeling my way about what I really want to do. So what I decided on doing, because I'm a special education teacher, I decided to create a program, an after-school program, to remediate students that are English language learners and special education and students with disabilities, to help narrow the achievement gap when they're taking the milestones. So.
Awesome.
Okay. And someone else is also working on ELL, and we'll get to them in just a second. I need to put a little sticky note so I know who just talked. Amy Moss.
Hey, I'm the other person doing the field trips. I don't teach with Robin. I teach with Antoinette, but I guess it's just a coincidence we have the same idea. But yeah, mine is more, I'm in charge of field trips for second grade at our school. So Robin, I can actually talk to you about some grants that Title I already gets, but mine is more focused, like even if they get like their entrance fee fully paid, they're still gonna have to pay for buses, and the buses are super expensive. So mine's more about getting the rest of the fees for the buses, awesome. a grant also.
Perfect. I would love that information.
Yeah, definitely.
When I read both of yours, I had, okay, Robin's in Cobb, in Cobb. They both teach elementary. Are they writing one grant together?
Yeah.
And then I realized when I read your second paper, oh, no, they're totally separate.
Yeah.
So just want to check on that. Okay, Nakia.
All right, yes. I decided to start a program at my school that will be a mentoring program for the students, because I know a lot of our students, that's something that they really need, mentors, positive mentors, but not just mentors within the school, because yes, they do listen to teachers, but I want them to see other people, like other positions, or mentors in the community, whether it be a police officer or something different. And along with those mentors are going to just continue to work with them and help them build leadership skills, along with help them academically with whatever that they need.
And when I read yours, I thought about the program, The Leader in Need. Does anybody use that program? Okay, Megan does. Robin, school system. So that's something you might want to look into. It's called The Leader in Me. It started with our Catholic private schools in town, and it was so successful that Bibb County was able to get a grant where someone funded the program for all 18 elementary schools.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's very expensive.
Yes. So, but with a local person, he wasn't extremely, he wasn't over the top wealthy. He wasn't somebody you would normally think of, but it's somebody who really had struggled through his elementary school years and was ready to help the next child. So,
I'll look into it.
Yep. Okay, Savannah.
Mine is not really a program, it's more of a resource for my classroom.
Mm-hmm.
I teach quite a few of ELL students that speak absolutely no English, and so I find it very difficult to teach. I teach algebra, so trying to teach them all these brand new words that they've probably never heard of before, and then trying to deal with the language barrier. So what I'm writing a grant for is for like 10 translator devices, just like handheld translator devices in my classroom. I know that's not the point of the ELL program, but I feel like there is a need for something to help them learn the language, the English language, while still learning the curriculum.
Awesome.
And when I read yours, because you included that in your paper, I thought about when I taught 3rd and 4th grade, and I would let children use multiplication tables when they were doing long multiplication, because at that point I didn't want to know, did they know their facts? I want to know, did they know the process?
Right.
So that's somewhat similar. All right, Sarah, who's in her car.
Yes, I'm sorry. I know that's weird. I'm just glad Zoom has an app. So I am doing a teacher's reading day. I teach high school English, and we spend a lot of time grading essays, and they can take weeks to return to students. And everybody, I'm sure you all know the importance of quality feedback. One of the key components is timeliness and getting the feedback to the students while it is still fresh in their minds of what they have just completed. And so my idea is to have a day where we'll have substitutes come in so that after getting your essays, you can spend the whole day reading them all and then give the feedback like the day after that, so that it will not be weeks and weeks before you have a chance to do that. So particularly with the teachers that have research papers, they take about 20 minutes each paper to read. And it's just a really, it's a lot of extra time, a lot of extra work.
It's cumbersome.
So,
yeah.
It is. And so it will be a lot better for the students. It'll be a lot better for the teachers to have this extra day to work with it.
Great. Yolanda.
Hi. Mine was a program that we have, we kind of have at school, Ninth Grade Academy. And when it was fully implemented in the school, we had a Ninth Grade Academy coordinator, the administrator, different things and programs for our ninth graders. And what I want is for it to be fully implemented again. We do have the facilities, but it still isn't implemented the way that it was before. And I guess I'd want it to be more for our ninth graders, our transitioning eighth graders into ninth grade, to help them become more acclimated to high school.
Okay. And you may have to, because it's such a county, your project is such, involves the county, you may want to talk about just doing a ninth grade academy in your own school. That's the only issue I had with yours, is it's such a huge thing, because then the county would have to get a facility to house these people in and transport the students over. But you may want to just narrow the focus and say, let's make a ninth grade academy in my school that they're separated out. I don't know. It was just an idea I was thinking about.
And at one time it was a countywide, where it was supported by Smaller Learning Community Grant. And then that grant has gone away. So then it kind of phased out.
But I applaud you for wanting to go big. Yeah.
I didn't mean to go that big.
Taisha, are you having trouble staying in? I see you. You come, you go.
I don't know this setting on this computer. It's all of a sudden goes to sleep, and I never set it up that way. So I have to talk to my technology person tomorrow.
By the way, it looks real stormy where I am, so if I disappear, remember somebody's supposed to call me. Well, I try to hotspot through my phone and iPad. You know, that happened to me last class. Not this group, but the last group. All right, Glenn. All right, where is Glenn?
Sorry, I had to unmute.
Okay.
Mine too is more resource than program, but I'm in a Title I school and we have all the funds for everything, but since I teach pre-K, it's different. We're not really allowed to use those funds on pre-K. So my idea was to have iPads for every student. We have one iPad, but that's really hard with all my students because they all want to use it, and there's so many different things that they can use it for and so many apps that the district wants us to use, but it's hard to get all of their time during the week with one iPad. So mine was for iPads and headphones so that we could set aside a certain time during the day. They could all go get on the apps or programs that we're supposed to be using, like Footsteps to Brilliance and iStation and all that, but they need headphones. They can all be on there at the same time. So that was my idea.
Okay, good. Okay, Natasha probably has the most unique one. Natasha, tell us about it.
Okay, so mine's just totally to the left. I only want to deal with young ladies in 7th and 8th grade, and what I found that over the last couple of years of teaching 7th and 8th is that these young ladies have a lot of internal aggression going on. So I want to harness that into a girls rugby team. And hopefully that will harness their focus in class, because I find that those are the same girls that get ISS, they get OSS because they're getting in their fights, they're really mouthy with their teachers and each other. They don't have great social skills because they don't know how to talk to people. So I'm all about getting all of that aggression out on the field. And then hopefully, you know, when we chart it all out, to make sure that, you know, the detentions are going down, the ISS is going down, their grades are getting better, that they'll just become better people.
That is so interesting. Okay, Michelle.
Okay, so I think a lot of us have Georgia milestones, of course, on the mind, especially if you teach third. And I also teach in a Title I school. So we just don't have enough technology, and supposedly all students are going to be taking the Georgia milestones online. So I would love to see all the third graders at my school have Chromebooks to use, just to get them used to the technology. But also there's lots of websites and apps and things that they can access to help start preparing them for the Georgia milestones, just for the standards that will be on the test. So that's what I'm thinking.
Okay. And then we're missing Emma right now. Emma is her school's representative for Teacher of the Year, and she's at the district meeting tonight for the big announcement on who is the district Teacher of the Year. So if she comes back early, it may not be good news. But they're making the board meeting started at 5, I believe. So she will join us if she can, but I think that was definitely worth an excused absence. But hers is to work on her school safety by putting up some barriers. Their school has no fencing. They have no barrier. If somebody walks into the school, they have access to the entire school. So that's what she wants to work on. Establishing a better safety plan and facility changes for that. Okay, let's talk a little bit about ways that people lost points so that you can be better next time. The first assignment, your first needs assignment, there was some issues with APA style. A lot of you were able to fix it. I wasn't really as concerned about the title page. In an APA document, the title page only has 3, besides the running head, which you need. But the next part should be centered this way and this way. And it's really only supposed to have 3 lines. but some of you put 4 and that was fine. The date or something that wouldn't be in a regular paper, but this is an assignment. I get that. That wasn't a problem. But what my biggest concern was in both paper 1 and paper 2 is that some of you didn't have data. You said a large number of students, or most of the students, or some of the students, or we have a high poverty level, and that would need to be backed up. And so start working on getting that backed up because you're going to need it for your final paper. So it doesn't have to be high-level research. It's easy to get a hold of your CCRPI scores that have all that information in it, from academics to demographics. So that's easy to pull. But then if you're saying something, let's just take the school safety barrier, and you say, my school has had several incidents. Well, you need to back that up. My school has had 3, or my school has had 30. That's a big difference to someone who is reading a proposal. Now, is it a huge problem or is it a limited problem? If it's a limited problem, my school's had 3, but you could say, but the next county over or the next school over, or we are aware that this is on the rise because in our country we have had, you just need data, numbers to back it up, because that gives your strength to your argument. It's kind of like when your child is out late and you say, I'm so tired of you missing your curfew. It's different than you have missed your curfew the last 3 times by 2 hours. See the difference? So they
2
know.
hours.
Whatever. My child better not have missed theirs by 2 hours, or else they really were not going anywhere for a while. But now they're all grown. I don't have to worry about that.
Can I ask a question?
Sure. I'd love a question.
For that data, is it stuff that you are gathering yourself, like just by asking people? Like, I just went around to my department and asked the other teachers, how long do you spend on grading, blah, blah, blah. Is that something that I have to cite because
No.
I did it? Like, would there be something in the reference page, or how do you document that?
There'd be no reference for that. But,
Okay.
but you would include a reference if you read a research article on teachers using time to grade papers, or the importance of returning papers in a timely manner.
Okay.
That would be something you'd cite because you looked it up. But if it's something you've gathered, you don't have to cite it. But definitely include it because it adds the strength. Okay?
Okay.
Who else?
Thank you.
Everybody understood every comment I made on your papers, or else you don't want to admit it.
I know I spoke with a few people from my very first group, and some stuff was like a little confusing, and
Okay.
the example wasn't very useful.
The what was?
The example, the little Mississippi example, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't very useful. I was able to shape up my paper a little bit to outline it, but I wasn't, I guess can we just have some more examples or better examples?
Well, we're actually moving away from that.
Oh, we are. Well, good, because that has been pressure these last 2 weeks, especially the first one.
Yeah, I know what Kai's just talking about. It felt like the second assignment was so like the first assignment that I don't think we knew what do we include that's additional? Do we include the same things? Like I know you said on mine, that draft a plan 3rd section really should have been a needs assessment. But I was like, wow, well, I just wrote a needs assessment. So was I supposed to copy and paste that? It would have been all the information that were in my first 2 sections was also in the needs assessment. So that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was unclear to me.
Yeah, and speaking about that, it was the title of that section was Draft a Plan for a Needs Assessment. We're not to the project plan yet. So yeah, I'm sure a lot of you felt like you were reiterating, being redundant type thing, but that's one reason why I made sure I got paper 1 back in time so you could take those suggestions and improve upon it for paper 2.
So even though we had written a needs assessment, this was planning to write a needs assessment. Is that what you mean?
Right.
Okay. That felt backward to me and it was confusing.
I understand.
Okay.
I also
Go ahead,
thought
Jessica.
that I agree with you, Keisha and Robin. I also thought the rubric wasn't helpful because and the instructions were really unclear. So I really didn't know what you were looking for.
Okay. The rubric was on your writing style with only the one section 4 of the rubric being, did you include the content needed? The other was actually on your writing style, your typos, your mechanics, your, I've got it right here. Hold on. I should know it by heart after reading all of them twice. Your structure, was it organized? That nobody had problems with that. A few of you had problems with your grammar and mechanics. Language was fine. Nobody had trouble with that. But it was the clarity and the content of the information that some of you lost a few points on because you didn't follow the guidelines that were provided. And yes, was some of the information, a lot, probably 50% of the information from the first one and the second one? Yes, but it was to give you another opportunity to think it through after you had received some feedback. You'd had another week to kind of let all this gel in your mind and think about. A couple of you actually changed yours. But,
gotcha.
All right.
Wait, one more thing. You said the guideline, and the guideline, because on my paper, and not to be personal, but you said that I didn't follow the guidelines completely. The guidelines were the questions, correct? It had the question of develop a needs assessment to qualify, to quantify the issues or problem. Then you had the questions, where is the problem located, who does it affect? That's the guideline that we were supposed to be following?
The one that was about, are you talking about your first paper?
Yes.
Yeah, there are about 8 questions. Actually, that's on our slideshow. So when we get to that, you want to look at that again?
Okay, yes.
PowerPoint.
Okay, thank you.
So let's look at that again. Right. Who else? All right, I'm going to move y'all off to the side and actually pull up the PowerPoint, if it will let me pull you up to the side. Hold on. I got you on full. I got to move you to small. Got to move you over there. And pull up the PowerPoint. So many steps. Now I can share my screen. All right. Here we go. Ready? Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, we did this already. We kind of caught up with where we were. All right, this is might help Kaisha's question. This was the first one. No, I'm sorry, that was week 2. Why are they not in order? I thought I had week 1 up here. Why is that not? That should show the whole thing, and it's not. Isn't that weird? Why isn't that showing everything? I promise you it's there. Wonder if I do it this way. Nope. All right, sorry, it didn't show it all, but it was all those different questions to answer. Aisha, do you have those in front of you by any chance?
Yes, I do.
Okay, good.
So I'm going, huh?
Because I don't.
Oh, okay. But I was just wondering because my paper was following those questions. So I was like, was there a different guideline? But maybe I just didn't go too much into detail.
Let me look yours back up again and I'll respond just to you separately, probably tomorrow.
I don't see the questions that you guys are talking about. I see the questions for the first one, but I didn't see any guidelines for this paper.
There weren't any for the second one.
It was I'm talking about for the first one, Jessica.
For the second one, it was these right here.
Right, and
that was paper. Okay, for the first one, hold on. Here. Hold on, maybe I can find it here. It's these right here.
Yeah, I've answered those, but I don't know. Maybe I just didn't go into detail as you had, so I'm definitely just going to go back and look at it.
Yeah, and I'll look at it too, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right. Back to the PowerPoint. Oh, look, did you see it showed it? Isn't that?
You probably
Look,
have to
there
click.
it is.
You probably.
Why isn't it showing it on the full screen? See, there it is. But if I go this, see if I just push that. Anyway, there they are. I knew they were there. All right, moving on. That is so odd. All right, this was weekend number 2. We've already talked about that. Any additional thoughts on 1, 2, and 3?
Well, yeah. Section 3.
Okay.
What did that need to look like? You said on mine, this should have been a needs assessment. What all would need to be included in that wasn't in the top 1 and 2 section?
Okay. And I'm not sure whether it was yours, Robin, or not, but on number 1, on planning, it says, once overall purpose of the needs assessment is established, the key stakeholders on that. Some of you put that in number 1, and I went ahead and gave credit to where it belonged. They didn't actually put it in the right section. But for the draft a plan for carrying out the needs assessment, that was step 3, and it said to talk about the breadth, the scope, why are you choosing this, how are you going to assess the needs, are you going to look at your test scores if you're working on student achievement, are you going to look at the person doing the reading, was trying to get subs in to do the reading. They talked to other teachers to assess how much time those teachers needed. That would be part of the needs assessment, assessing the need for your project. And some of you drafted a plan for the project. You jumped ahead. And I don't know if that was yours or not because I don't have it in front of me.
It might have been.
Yeah, it might have been. So.
That's kind of in between both what you said and what I did. So.
Okay. All right. Moving on. Okay. In week 3, you're going to do the logic model. We're going to review this. We went over it before, but just so that you've got it back in your mind, we're skipping to the logic model. We're putting the other behind us, but you will actually pull some of that information out because you're going to put it in your logic model. All right, this was the example of one that we saw. And by the way, you'll have this PowerPoint to look at, so you can see it bigger than this. But just to remind you, we're going to go through each of the parts. You have to come up with your situation. This is where you're going to put some of your needs and some of your research, but it's going to be much briefer. You're going to hit the strongest points of your situation. Questions about that? You've already written this. Well, most of you have. Some of you not yet. But so it's a matter of just condensing it and pretend this is somebody new that's never looked at it before. Okay, moving on. There's the situation for this one. See, they've put in some numbers, they put in what the issue is, and what the program's intent or intentions are. And that was the one about the Chromebooks. Used their CCRPI, talked about their achievement, gave specific numbers, and then how this was going to help. Okay. I'm going to go back for just a minute. Look at the titles. Okay. LMS Rising. So when you think about that, think because you're going to be doing a marketing too, so you're going to have to come up with a logo. So what kind of logo might come up to LMS Rising?
Stair steps.
Say that one more time. Stair steps. Oh, that's a good one.
An upward arrow.
Upward arrows. Okay, let's look at this one. Kid Zone. What kind of catchy thing could logo or graphic?
Kids with Viking helmets.
That's cute. Or maybe the kids in this area all working together and shows a teacher being able to collaborate in a different view. I don't know. And then help it. Think about this one. This would be easy. Help us shine, get us chromed. That would be easy to show in a logo, I think. So be thinking about your project and maybe a catchy title, a catchy picture. Okay? And those are the situations.
Dr. H, any of these templates we can use?
Yes, and you have access to them, and we'll go over that before the end of the class tonight, where to find them. Okay, there's another logic model. Look at this situation. I would like a little bit more data on this one because it says as many as. No, that to me that was a little weak, but I shouldn't have taught research before I taught this class maybe.
Is this going to be set up APA also?
No,
Right?
no, this wouldn't be APA.
Okay. So no title page. You don't want references? You want the references on
Okay,
here?
just hold on till we get, you're jumping way too ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Way
Just trying to
too
take some
ahead.
notes. Sorry.
Okay. So the logic model breaks down. It starts with the situation and then goes to how you're going to finally end up with your outcomes, your long-term, short-term, long-term outcomes. So I hope as we're going through this, you're putting on your thinking cap and thinking through how would mine break down. Let's keep going. All right. You can start with your program goal. I think y'all already know what your overall goals are. So here's an example. I'm going to keep going unless somebody stops me, okay? So here's some tips. Why is this not showing? Oh, sorry. Well, I'm going to have to show it this way. Sorry, y'all. I can go and show it this way. I don't know why it's not. Okay, goals and outcomes are not the same. So just remember that, and you'll see why in a second. We're just going to slide this way. I don't know why it's not showing at all. All right. So you want all your components to be connected to the goal. If it doesn't meet the goal, then it shouldn't be in there because it doesn't fit. You need to have one clear goal. You can have some other outcomes, but think about what your one goal is going to be. And then phrase that goal in terms of the change you want to achieve over the life of your intervention. But don't be so broad that it doesn't let the reader know, or don't be so general. You know, broad and general, the same things. Don't, where the reader's left like, well, what does this writer really mean for this? I don't get what the goal is going to be. Does that make sense? All right, here's an example. Very clear. Students, literacy rate, reading difficulties, name of the school, and how they're going to accomplish it. And then the others are way too broad. So think about the ones that are doing increased student achievement. You need to give that a little bit more focus because you can't increase student achievement in every subject right away. You want to start with one, and if it's successful, then this project can move to another year with another area of academics. Okay, here's the logic model. And remember, your outcomes over here are different from your goals. So think about it. We talked about they have a goal of increasing the pool of qualified STEM teachers. By the way, I would narrow that down a little bit more and say in Lakeside Elementary School. because you're not worried about the county, you're worried about your position. All right. So what could an outcome be? Let's do a short-term outcome. What could a short-term outcome be?
Quiz grades go up, quiz scores.
All right. But you're increasing the pool of qualified STEM teachers.
Oh, STEM teachers, pardon. I didn't understand. Okay.
Oh, somebody sent me, oh, wait, somebody has sent me a, maybe try selecting F5. You think that's going to work? Let's see. It is showing it all. Who sent me that? Thank you, Cindy. Nope. It's not there. I got too excited. Oh, sorry. I don't know why it's not working. All right, back to STEM. Think about the goal is increasing the pool of qualified STEM teachers. Now, the whoever said that about the scores go up, that would be an evaluation technique. Okay. So a short-term goal would be, y'all, this is so easy.
Maybe increased excitement about STEM activities.
But if you're increasing the pool of qualified STEM teachers, I would think a short-term goal is one teacher in every grade level becomes STEM certified. And then a medium could be increase it by 10%, and then all teachers would be long-term. Are any of y'all in a school where every teacher got gifted certification?
I am.
Okay, and that's how that was implemented in lots of counties. By having the short term, we'll have this many in each grade level, then the medium, and then the long term. By the way, your school gets paid more if every teacher is gifted certified. The school gets more money. All right, moving on. All right, so once you have a clear goal, then you might want to write your situation. You might want to start from your final goals and then, you know, it's all going to play together. This is going to be a working document. That's why this assignment is going to be pretty much a, if you do it, you get all the grades, because it's going to be where you can improve upon it. Maybe some of you will be great from the get-go. But it's all going to be very dependent on each other. And you're going to use the information gathered from your needs assessment. I'm moving on. I hope y'all are ready. All right. So here's a situation or problem statement. I'll let you read that. So for those who like it spelled out, there it is spelled out. When you write your situation, go back and say, did I give all of this information in a brief form? Questions about that?
That'll be the hard part, is making it brief.
Yeah. All right, here's an example. Okay, let's talk about it. Does this tell you what is the problem or needs changing? That's not good wording up there. What's the problem that needs changing? Somebody come up. What is it?
Well, it's the exposure to secondhand smoke, but it doesn't actually say that.
Yeah, I agree with Sarah. I think it needs to be a little bit, I would write that a little bit more clearly.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, you can infer it, but
Yeah.
it's not bluntly stated.
So under this where it says, what is the goal? That's not really in there, is it?
Okay. No.
It doesn't say, what are the challenges? Why is there a need? Does it say that? It kind of infers it, like Sarah said. It suggests that research suggests 10% of the county's restaurants are voluntarily smoke-free. So it does give you some of the needs. Who is this affecting? Who is the focus of this logic model?
Assume it's the youth, the
I would
county youth.
Yes, it would
County
be,
youth.
Yep, it'd be the county youth. All right, moving on. It all is going to make sense, I promise. I don't know which one I'm on. There I am. Here's another example. This is a little blurry.
Yeah, I can't read that.
Okay, you want me to read it to you?
Yeah.
Okay. Lowndes Middle School has the lowest special ed education subgroup target population in science, 23, in Lowndes County for 2016. Lowndes Middle School needs to implement LMS Rising, an after-school tutoring program for the 7th grade special education students to provide additional instruction and practice of new science concepts. Research and empirical studies show that additional exposure, practice, and application exercises exploit students' strengths and reduce their weaknesses to improve overall test scores in the classroom. By participating in LMS Rising, this targeting audience will improve their reading comprehension of science text with additional practice. They will improve their self-confidence and their ability to learn and apply new science concepts, which will result in improved formative and summative assessments, and ultimately their subgroup test scores, target scores in science will improve for 2017. That's a little long sentence. I probably would have broke that out. What's the problem?
The target score for the special education is low.
Good. Target scores in what subject?
Science.
Science. What are the challenges?
The new content, the new science content.
And reading comprehension.
Reading comprehension. If they don't have reading comprehension, they're not going to have science.
Self-confidence.
Yep. So lots of things in this one. Let's go to the next one. All right, read this one. This one's clear. Y'all can read it yourself. Okay. First of all, what do you think about this one?
I'm not to the bottom yet. Hold on.
Okay, sorry. I've gotten a chance to read it.
Slow reader.
I can't tell what school, like the place.
Okay.
Is not clear. Like it says 1 in 4 high schools offer the program, but then it's, I don't, where is West Lawrence not one of those 4?
No, it's not. There's only one that does it in West Lawrence. So Sarah, I agree with you. It's not clear.
Yeah, I was just going to.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, what is the need? Like, I read it and it seemed to be more informational than, but there's a problem.
Yep.
Like, what is the need other than letting us know about the JROTC?
Yeah, this one does not get to the bottom line. It describes the situation, but doesn't get to the purpose of the program or the project. Does that make sense?
I mean, you can assume that they want more of these programs, but that's not expressed.
Not clearly laid out.
Yeah, it's not said in the situation. Like, I took it as, oh, that's great. 1 out of 4. Okay, so I don't know.
Yeah. I think this one gives it's not a recruitment program for the military. That is really not necessary information right here. So this is what you would call a
Right.
non-example. All right. Let's see, down. All right. At the bottom of the logic model are where you put the assumptions, and we're going to talk about some assumptions. So when you look at your project, there's some things you're going to assume. If you're talking about kids to have an after-school tutoring program, I know somebody's going to ask the mentoring program for the after-school, having the mentees. Well, they're assuming that the students will want to attend after-school tutoring program. They're assuming that teachers will volunteer to work the after-school tutoring program. They're assuming that transportation will still be provided for those students who are attending. So think about the assumptions. Okay, the one doing the professional development program, you know, you're assuming that the teachers are going to learn the material that's being taught at the professional development. So think about some assumptions that you're making. And y'all know what they say about assuming, right?
Yep.
I won't say it out loud. Okay. So, you know, this seems like you're being kind of negative, but you've got to say, I'm assuming these things are in place. These things are going to happen. Questions on that? You don't have to get too nitty gritty with this. Just the major assumptions. Okay, and then another section are your external factors, things that you probably can't make any difference about. These are things that are just going to come into play whether you want them to or not. Trying to think of something specific, an external factor that fits with one of y'all's things.
These are different than the assumptions.
Right. All right. Okay. An external factor is that the milestones will continue to be a gateway test for third grade or whatever. What's another external factor?
So, can I ask a question?
Please.
Okay, so the assumptions are more about the people, like the stakeholders, whereas the external factors would be more like assumptions about things that are not stakeholders?
No, not necessarily. Well, not necessarily. Like an assumption that's not a person could be that the school facility is going to be made available at no charge.
So that would be an assumption or an external factor?
That would be an assumption.
Okay.
An external factor, trying to think of better examples of external factors. We'll go back to some of the other ones. How about that? That's probably rather than me sit here and try to, let me pull up some. Let's go back to them.
Would a external factor for the field trips, would it be that there's always going to be a fee for the buses and the drivers?
That would be an external factor.
Okay.
This is so small. Let me go to just the slideshow and see if we can see it bigger. Here we go. Okay, here's one. Well, that's the board game. That's a little external factor. You know, these are factors that might play into the success of your plan or might be detrimental to your plan. Let's go back to another one. I don't like that one. Okay, this is an external. This is a great one here. They're working with ELL students. One of their factors is that they're going to continue to enroll at the school and that there's still going to be a need for remediation acceleration. That's an external factor that you're not assuming it's something that you, well, see, it's over here as well.
I was going to say it is a little bit of an assumption.
Yeah, it's a little bit of
it might not happen.
Yeah, it might not happen. Okay. I loved this one. Some teachers will not view their children as causing interruptions. And they're not going to put their kids in there. I thought that was kind of an assumption would be the teachers will honor the opportunity to have their children not bothering them. That would be an assumption. an external factor of these that won't. An external factor is that the student volunteers may not have strong management skills. Let's not get too nitpicky about that. But I think as you start looking at it, you'll be able to say, okay, I'm assuming this is going to happen. But that's an external factor I have no control over. Here's a great external factor on this one, is that it's going to conflict with other after-school programs, which would make children not choose that program. That's a really good example of one. Oh yeah, now I got to go back to the escape out so that we can see the whole thing. That's so weird that's not showing. I wonder if it's showing on the other teachers. All right, so we've talked about the situation, assumptions, external factors, talked about some outcomes. All right, it also answers what resources you're putting into the program. There's a section for that. What activities or program actions are used? What are the measurable products? What are the outcomes? What are you trying to achieve? So now we're going to look at those things. Okay. Your inputs, that's what will be put into it that makes it work. The outputs is what is going to happen that reaches your population that will then result in an outcome. Outputs lead to outcomes. And then your outcomes are measurable. That's the big difference between your outputs and your outcomes. Let's look at it more thoroughly. All right, inputs. Two different types of inputs. These are from two different of the examples. One person got a little more specific than others, but you mainly want to think about what human resources do you need, what facility or area, what equipment, what financial resources, who's going to be your partners with it, and what technology do you need, or in this case, equipment. All right, let's look at it. Rather than putting home buying resources and all those things that are too specific, clear financial records, which wouldn't really fit into education. Staff, be a little bit more specific, but don't be so specific that you're pricing them out. Supplies, well, you need art supplies, but you don't have to be the definite how many do you need. Does that make sense? The logic model is a brief summary of the entire plan. I guess that's a good way to put it. All right, can you see that? That's kind of hard for me to see. Whoops. Sorry. Let's see if we can make it bigger. Up to the next one. Here we go. Two more examples from two different ones. The input they have, the input they need. That's the green that went with one of them. The yellow went with a different one.
They even list specific people.
And you would be getting where you can start listing specific people, because that's your team.
Do you want us to list the specific people, or you don't want us to list them?
I would rather you list the specific people, because my hope is that you're really going to do this program and you're going to need specific people working with you. You know, right now you're dreaming, but I'd love for this to be a reality rather than a dream. So think about who would you trust in your building? You know, list the counselor by name. Especially on the mentoring. The one doing the rugby, y'all move around. It's funny. There you are. Natasha's doing the rugby, and I think you talked about who already has rugby coaching skills, and you listed her by name. All right. Because we're going to hopefully do a grant for this, you would want to list your grant resources. So take a moment and read that. And we're going to look at some examples, so don't get too antsy yet. You know, for your resources, if you're doing, say, Chromebooks or the iPads, somebody's doing that, they already have 5, then you would put, we already have 5, how many more do we need? Somebody's texting, is that one of y'all? Oh, no, that's a friend, sorry. I went and saw the book club today. Y'all are too young to laugh, but at my age, it was hilarious. That was a friend. I've never read 50 Shades of Grey, and the book club is based on the book. So a friend of mine just texted me and said she can't find it to load it to me. That's gonna be my weekend. Okay, moving on now that I'm blushing. Okay. but you would want to make, you know, difference between what you already have and what you need. Got it? Moving on. Is this all starting to make better sense? I think this is going to be easy for y'all to do. You've got such a great start. All right, here we go.
I have a quick question. Are there templates out there like this, or do we got to make our own?
No. They're there for you to fill in the blank.
Oh, good, because I'm like, I don't think I can get that creative.
Me either.
With the arrows and the.
Nope, they're there. They're there. I've got them in Word and I've got them in Excel. So.
Okay, good.
Okay. So here are your inputs. This is what they already have. And this is what they need. This is the one about the logic games. I love that they already have time. I think that would be a need. Anyway, just
right.
Okay. And then this one actually connected it with arrows. That's this model. You don't have to connect it with arrows. And I'm talking about these arrows right here. You know, those. So then the activities, they get approval. They did the surveys. They use the surveys to develop the program. The students complete this. They play the learning game, and they have a post-test. Isn't that easy? Y'all can do this. And this is who's participating. A lot of it are these same people. I hear somebody. I'm afraid to only show the big slide because I don't know what we're missing. I'm going to go back up just to make sure. Okay, we saw that. Okay. All right. What is the program doing? That's your activity. You know, and everybody would be different. This is a second. Now let's look at it in the logic model. To me, it helps with, oh, it's not in the logic model. This, to me, it helps to see it in the model itself. But here's some examples that you might want to put as your activity.
So the activities are like a to-do list.
Exactly. Who said that? Was that Sarah?
Sarah.
I'm going to miss you at 7 o'clock. Oh, that's 2 more minutes.
Yeah, I got 2 minutes.
All right. Use the activities as an outline for your work plan. Use the activities as headings. So it helps people see what you're going to be doing. It's an overview. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
It's your steps, but it's not your specific steps. Because then this would be pages long. And you're fitting this in one page. That's kind of the good news. One page. Your outputs have to be measurable. They have to be directly linked to the entire program. So if your output is, let's say, a teacher in every grade level will become STEM certified, but there were no steps to get them there, well, that wouldn't make sense. Give me a chance to read these. See, like this one, number of program participants served, that's an easy one for you to put in. I'm thinking back again about the rugby. She has that the number of discipline referrals for the participants will be reduced because that's easy to prove. If it was, say, the chess project, the number of participants, number of hours, a direct correlation to their math scores. This one, for the one that's doing the training, I'm sorry, I don't remember everybody who's doing exactly what, but that would definitely be one some of you would want to include. You know, where are you going?
All right, I'm gonna go. Thank you.
All right, Sarah, I'll send everybody the copy of this so you'll get it.
Thank you very much.
Have fun. She's watching her child perform.
Oh.
All right, so here's the whole picture. Well, not the whole picture, but a lot of the picture. Some of the outputs could be better. Oh, no, I'm thinking outcomes. I'm so sorry. We're not to the outcomes yet. I'm going to take it back to little so we don't miss anything. Here's another one. And all these you're going to have to look at. This person got very specific. This is me. I'm very type A. Here's an activity. Here's who's going to do it. Here's an activity. Here's who's going to do it and what they need. Here's the activity. Here's what relates to it. That would be my way, but it may not be your way, and it may not even fit your project. All right. Here's one you hadn't seen yet. I don't think. Y'all haven't seen the bicycle riders, have you?
Mm-mm.
All right. Situation is too little. Just telling you. We need a lot more information than that. You know, research has shown that 90% of bicycle accidents are riders that are, or cyclists that are injured in bicycle accidents were not wearing their helmet. Da da da. They need some more things there. They've put this here as an activity, but that really should have been part of their situation because y'all have already done your needs assessment. That's where your needs assessment would come into play for your situation. These whoa, isn't that odd? My computer's not liking me today. I don't know. All right. Some of these are great activities. I don't know why it's doing that, y'all. I'm really not making it happen.
That's just very broad.
Yeah.
I mean, I would, if I was to do this one, I would say, mostly kids.
Yeah.
Who tend to just hop on their bike and ride.
Yeah. And see, they're out, but look at their outcomes. Short-term outcome will become more aware. How do you know? So they've dropped their data into a separate area. Another example of how you can do it. They've got their goals and then how they're going to assess them. Is this better? No, it's just what works for you. And
different, yeah.
Yeah, it's just different. All right. Very important, begin with an estimate. And I'm sure y'all have been part of school improvement plans that you had, where you've written maybe a SACS plan or advanced ed plan. And then when you actually go to implement it, you say, oh, what were we thinking? There is no way that's going to happen. And you adjust it. That's part of having a plan. Moving on, ready? Here's the Junior ROTC, the one that we've already said needs some more information in the beginning. How could these inputs and outputs be improved? Y'all aren't sure, huh?
U.S. military and government, and that's very, very broad.
That is very broad. You might contact instead of U.S. military and government, an input would be the commander of the school that has it.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
I still don't understand the situation, so.
Well, the situation is this school, Lawrence Town, whatever the name is, Lawrence High School, West Lawrence High, is trying to get an ROTC program. That's their situation. This is what they say they have. I think it's a little.
Can they have something that focuses on a certain branch, or?
Yeah, they probably should put the branch in it. You're right, whether it's an Army, Air Force, whatever.
Yeah, they say design a curriculum based on Army, Navy, or Air Force. That I think they should pick one before they do this.
Yep.
I do.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say I do like how they have local veterans. I think that's a good idea.
I quilt for veterans.
Awesome.
My daughter's doing a presentation for me Saturday. I'm very excited.
Oh.
Anyway. Some of those activities are really good. I think it's interesting that this activity, because this is just me being type A, says distribute. This one says networking. To me, it should be distributing and network. I don't know why it's doing that. I would use the same verb tense. Either I would say distribute surveys, network and cooperate. I would do one with ing and one not, but that's just me. I'm not sure some of those activities are actually going to increase participation in that program. Activities would be, first of all, if they're trying to get a program, they would have to talk to the board, talk to others, talk to students, gather interest from the students, that type of thing. So I think that one's too vague. We already said their situation is too vague. Now we see the rest of the story. All right, here's a different one. We already know the situation needs what? That's not here.
The school information? Oh wait, no. Is that on there?
And the situation needs, well, Title One's, I would put what the name of the school is.
The data?
The data.
The
You need
data.
some data. You need some research.
What's the correct way to say it? Is it data or data? Maybe.
Either, they're both, it's either. By the
Oh,
way,
okay.
I could not, there was a typo in here and I could not fix it. It's whoever made this originally did a copy paste in that county. I couldn't take the extra C out of. Okay, look at the inputs. These are things that the school has. What do you think about those? On how they relate to the situation? On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give it?
I don't know.
Come on, y'all.
I don't know if I'd trust first
You saying
graders.
the
not to-
overall?
What?
You saying the overall?
On the input column.
Oh, on the
Oh,
input,
input.
sorry.
I think it's pretty good. I don't
Yeah, I
know.
don't think it's too
Yeah,
bad.
I mean, I would give it an 8.
Like an 8, yeah.
Yeah,
An 8 to
see,
10.
there's a whole lot of input, I mean, not input, but statistical information on, why the children are really receiving this or what it's supposed to
Yeah,
look.
the situation needs to be better. There's no
Yeah,
doubt
right.
the situation needs better. But the inputs, these are things that they already have that they're gonna that be involved. Yeah. Okay, let's look at just the activities column.
And then give any information on, I guess, the number of students who might be participating. Because if it's a lot of students that have the lowest grade equivalency, then you'll be allowing this for 70, 80 kids sometimes.
Yeah.
No, that participation.
And how do they know?
What are they considering low?
Low, exactly what I was saying.
Yeah, I would be a little more specific in that. They may put that in the situation and get by with it there. If the situation described who they are, then that would work there. You could put it right here.
I do like some of the activities. It's specific. You have the equipment and what you're going to do with the equipment.
Good.
And then using the online read alouds with the technology devices is good. It's something that you have already. It's not something you have to go out and try to find or buy.
Yeah, and if you go back to the situation, in order to be given additional reading practice, so do these activities provide the additional reading practice? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, they do. So those activities address the situation. Okay, let's look at participation.
And once again, in participation, she's using the resources, the technology department. I like it. It's simple. It's kind of simple, cut and dry, just without the research, without the numbers.
Yeah, this one is pretty good. Does that make y'all feel better?
Yes. It's really simple. I like the simple.
It's not over the top, but it addresses the situation. All right.
I have a question.
Yes.
On that one, should there be, or should there always be somewhere in there of how they're gonna like assess it? Should there be like an assessment or?
That's going to come in the outcomes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Here's the picture again. So there's the income, the inputs. What do you have? Well, what does the school already have that's going to put in your people, your resources, even facility if you need certain equipment. Okay, your outputs, what kind of activities you're going to have, who's going to be participating in these activities, and now what are your outcomes going to be? So let's look at that. Here we go. I think about the one you're concentrating on. Think about your very own. And pick one of those bullets that would match yours. And I'm going to randomly say, and let's see.
Increase skills.
Okay, but Megan, second grade typing, which one would be yours? Is Megan there?
It would be a few for me.
Sorry, I was muted.
Okay, choose one, Megan.
Probably new knowledge, because really they don't have knowledge of typing at all.
Okay, good. This would be interesting, Kaisha. Which of those for flexible seating?
Environmental change of conditions.
I didn't see that. Where is that?
On the right side.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yes. And that would be one. And I'm telling y'all, just choose one. But it could be modified.
Yeah, I was looking at the other. I actually looked at modified behavior and practice, but.
Yep. Okay, let me choose another one. Amy, field trip. Heck, we have two with field trips.
I would say new knowledge.
Definitely, because you're trying to take them someplace they haven't been.
Mm-hmm.
Michelle, the Chromebook.
Increased skills.
Yep, because you want to be able to take that, what's it called, Georgia milestones by not having technology get in the way. Do you see how it fits? Can everybody see? If you have a question, let's work on yours. If you can't see how one of these fits yours, let's talk about it. All right.
I don't know if mine would be new knowledge or increased skills.
All right, Glenn is the kindergarten iPads. What do you want them to get with the iPads? What's?
I guess knowledge. The skills, yeah, but most of them know how to use an iPad. So I guess knowledge.
Is it a reading focus? I can't remember.
Both reading and math programs that the district wants us to use.
So that would definitely be increase their skills and probably new knowledge as well.
Okay, we can choose more than one?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Sure. Thank you for clearing that one up. All right, here's some examples. The objectives and some outcomes. These aren't education ones on purpose because it makes you think outside of our boxes. So think about it. Better housing. What is an indicator of better housing? These things. Stop using vending machines so much. Well, what would some outcome indicators be? Hopefully number 4. But maybe not. And look at the dairy farmers. And what are those outcomes? Higher milk quality. Right, moving on. All right, short term. Y'all are going to have 3 different levels of outcomes. Short term is generally in 1 year. Intermediate is after they get their 1-year outcome. How would that link into the next step? They need to be sort of progressive. And if you achieve the short term and the intermediate term outcome, what other outcome would be long term and hopefully lead to continuation or sustainability? So think about your project. Who can come up with a short term?
I would say on mine with the field trip to the aquarium, possibly, it's going to tie into standards. So I would say increased grades on, assessments for those standards.
Okay, Good, Robin, thank you. Who else?
For me, maybe I'm doing the translating devices. Maybe more self-confidence in my students.
How would you measure that? Remember, they have to be measurable.
Yeah, that's true. Well, maybe like 50% of my students show an increase in score or an increase in knowledge, and I would assess that using some kind of quiz or something like that.
And remember, Savannah's is the iPads to help the ELL students improve in algebra. Okay, so she's got a very good thing to measure. That makes it, this is where they were, this is where they were. Also, an intermediate or maybe even a short term would be do some type of a survey with your students so you get a student opinion survey. That's always a good thing to put in. So that the students feel more successful as determined by their opinion survey. Anybody else wanted to make a guess? Make a stab at it?
Would my ninth grade academy be improve ninth grade failure rate, because ninth graders have the highest failure rate?
That would be an easy 1 year.
Yeah. And
it would actually be hard to do more than 1 year with yours. Other than maybe like a long term for the ninth grade academy. I don't know how many of your students bail out in your county when they get to ninth grade and change over to a private school, or they change to a charter school. So a long-term goal would be to increase the number or decrease the number of students who don't continue to participate in the traditional school system.
Would long-term also be to increase graduation rate in 4 years?
Perfect. Ooh, that's a good one. Good.
Mine, I guess I'm trying to figure this one out. Mine is to promote motivation to read and self-efficacy. Would that be intermediate or short term? Because you don't want it for 1 year. You do want it to lead to a long-term outcome, but long-term you want it to be.
And remind me again, what grade level are you, Frankie?
Second.
Okay, good, because that's easier to actually follow for those second graders. So your short term would be that the students, you can measure that. You're reading for that. But then you follow them for passage rate for Georgia milestones, next year's third graders as opposed to third graders trend data. Y'all know what trend data is?
Yes.
Okay. And, does that answer you?
Yeah, I guess it could lead into it because it did go into them being more willing to accept, harder things, to read challenging text, to be prepared for tests like the Georgia milestones.
Does your school do AR?
No, we used to. We had it last year, but they cut the program this year.
Okay, could your media specialist track number of books checked out?
She
like
can.
That? Now, that might be some of your data as an outcome.
Okay.
Be thinking about it. That's a little trickier for me. I would have to think about that. Sorry. All right.
I just wanted to say real quick for me, something, because I was sitting here thinking about it. I think for the mentoring program that I want to do, a short-term thing might be a change in attitude. Because whenever I was mentoring this girl 2 years ago, I noticed a significant difference on how she was addressing the teachers, especially me. Just the way she was speaking with the adults at the school. It's like whenever she came to the program, she felt like she was obligated to be there, and she was talking down to everybody like she was better than them. And, we really got to the root of her issues, and she's, her tone and attitude started to change towards the way she saw teachers, and that we're not evil and we're trying to help. And
also what you could do, Jordan, is under your activity, you could put the administer survey to assess student experience within the program. I'm trying to think of a good word. And so if that's an activity, then an outcome could be administered surveys reflect that.
Kind of like how they thought the program was, like what it did for them, maybe.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sorry that keeps flashing. I'm afraid to touch it. It might go away. It did. Sorry. All right. Outputs versus outcomes. So look at this. And even though we're just going through these tonight, having this available as you work on yours will make it so much easier. Just keep going back to it. Okay, I'm moving on. Is that okay? Because we're going to see it. Here we go. I've already talked about a little bit about this. They need to be connected to each other. And look at the bottom. To me, this is more clear. I love the what do you expect to see, then what would you want to see, and finally, what do you hope to see? Because by that time, the students may not be directly involved anymore, but you want it to follow them. To me, the long-term outcomes are the hardest for me to write because I want to still have control. And by this time, you've given up your control. It's kind of like when your children grow up and you just hope they continue to say, go to church or use the manners because you've established those short-term outcomes and you hope they're still long-term. Cindy's smiling. Here we go. That should make it more clear. Here we are back at Lowndes County Middle School.
So when we complete this, the layout is already done for us on Microsoft Word? Or?
We'll get there.
Oh, I keep going ahead. I'm sorry.
You're going to have something that looks just like this, but it's empty. The boxes are empty. All these to go back to. We won't keep going back to them. Just different looks. All right, let's see. Is this going to come back? Nope, it's not. Just some more thoughts. When you finish your logic model, go back and ask yourself these questions. Because those are the questions I'm going to be asking when I look at them. All right, we're going to look at your resources. Yay, Kaisha, we're here. Hi. This slide was not in here, and I put this slide in because I felt like it was important. If you're like me, you're like, okay, I know I have to do it. Tell me how I can do it the easiest. All right, there's worksheet flowcharts. 2 are in week 3, but in week 1, there was a community toolbox and the templates to use for the logic model. Well, let's look at those. Okay, if you can think back 2 whole weeks ago. Oh, come on. Y'all read this? You were assigned to read this, we'll put it that way. It talked about the logic model, so you can go back through that. And then there were examples, and then under tools, We're sorry, can't be found. I was afraid of that. That's good examples. So there were some to look at and how they work, but you don't have those tools. This one I think would be really hard to put in everything you need to put in. I think this is really the best one. Let's go back. Sorry. Then there was that video that you watched in that same place. Hold on. See, still in week 1. Templates to use for the logic model. This is a PDF. Unfortunately, you would have to have a PDF converter. Do your schools have that? But we have ones that don't take conversion. That's the easy one we've been looking at. I'm not going to do them all. But here's a doc. See, this is PDF. This is all in docs. Let me just open this one. There it is as a document. Same one. Where do you find these? What week?
Week 1.
Thank you. I'm starting to learn y'all's voices. That's kind of scary. All right, then let's go because this is due. This is a week 3. Flow chart. And there's it is again. As a Word doc. And also as an Excel, because some people like to type in Excel. I am not one of those people.
No.
But for those that are, there it is. Oops. That's all my students trying to get into Wesleyan. Aren't y'all glad to see all those people? Oh, all right. So it's also in week 3. I wanted to look at the rubric. That's in the assignment, draft your flow chart. Okay. Okay, this is a completion credit. Completion credit means you completed it, all of the areas. This is just your inputs, your outputs, and your outcomes, not just. But that's what we're mainly looking at. If it was me, I'd probably do it all because I'd like to go ahead and get a good start. And this is how it was going to be graded for the final one. This is just a completion, but it lets you know where the focus is. So when I go in to rate you, I'm going to write some comments in here. But you're going to get 20 points if you've done it. Does that make sense? Because then you'll know how to go back and fix it. Okay. All right, so we looked at this. We looked at the grading rubrics. Your final ones due week 6. So week 3, you'll turn in 1. We'll have another class week 5. So if you have questions, you can ask it. And I hope you know that I love questions. That's good. That means you're engaged. All right, that's what completion credit actually means. That's pretty clear, huh? Somebody, well, I don't want anybody to say, well, I did it. Well, yeah, but you didn't include those areas. Okay, so week 3 homework, you're doing the inputs, the outputs, and the outcome. You don't have to do the situation. You don't have to do the activities. If it was me, I'd go ahead and start filling them in, because then that gives me gives the teacher, me, a chance to look at them and say, you might want to think about your activities, but you don't have to. You only have to do these 3 things. Okay. Oh, we're finishing early. We didn't even take a bathroom break. I'm kind of sorry. Oh, no, we have something else to do.
Quick question.
We have to do the marketing plan. Y'all want to take a bathroom break? Yes. 5 or 10 minutes. Hold up your hands. 5. 1. We'll do 5 minutes. It's almost 7:35, so we'll do 7:40. Okay?
Yep.
All right. I'll go say hi to my husband. All right, let's see if everybody's gonna pop back in. Here you are, like magic. Hey, while y'all were gone, I went ahead and opened up week 3 and week 4 so that you can see that. Let's look at week 4 to-do list. Let me share my screen again. All right, week 3 we've went over. That's the logic model. Week 4, your objectives, which y'all can read on your own, the topics. And this is what you're going to be doing. You're going to read from Designing Educational Projects. Has everybody been able to get to that? That was weird how it sometimes appears and doesn't. Like down here, it's not appearing again. But anyway, you're going to read part 2, these pages. Then steps 1, 2, 3, 4 from Designing Education Projects, educational, I should say. These are not the same steps, 1, 2, 3 you've already done. This is from part 2. Make sure you follow your APA format. You're going to go back and reread this just to refresh your memory. And then you're going to complete your mini marketing presentation that we're going to go into in just a second. And then you're going to bring it to class to share with people. Okay. So let's go into that. I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint. Homework week 4, steps 1 through 4 in your education. Y'all got this. Now you're deep diving. You've already done your needs assessment, and now you're ready to start driving it all. Okay, marketing plan. Marketing plan has 2 parts. It has your written plan, and it has a program name and logo. That's one they used for the Rising. Somebody said stair steps. That's their mascot. So they use that in it. The chess game, the learning game lab. I'm going to make this bigger so that we can all see it better. There we go. That's better. And see, here they've used their logo, but then put a little explanation right here, which I thought was cute. Okay. Your marketing plan. Remember, APA format, always do a title page. Okay, who are you going to market? Think about who you need to market this to. How are you going to market? Is it going to be a brochure you pass out? Are you planning to go on the announcement over your school announcement, your PA announcement, your intercom? Are you going to put something on your school website? Is it a flyer? Hopefully it's more than just word of mouth, because that's not always a good thing to use. Is it a board presentation? How are you going to market this program?
I have a question. Is this going to be like in paper format or?
This is a written plan. You're just writing. You're answering these questions.
Oh, I see. Written plan.
Okay.
I was reading the bullets, not the.
That's okay. Okay. If you're using a brochure, where are you going to put the brochures? How are you going to? Sorry, I don't know why it does that. How are you going to pass them out? I can't think of the word I'm trying to think of.
Distribute.
Okay. Thank you, distribute. I was thinking disseminate, and I couldn't come up with it.
That works.
Okay. What information are you going to include in your marketing materials, such as location, place, who is eligible to attend? How are you going to make it creative and catchy? Now, when are you planning to market it? If it's for 9th grade academy, when do you need to start that marketing? Obviously before March.
January.
Yeah, you want to get people going. What resources are you going to need? This is just dreaming, y'all. You don't know for sure. but it's just to make you think through it.
Can I ask a quick question? So for field trips,
Okay.
like I'm not handing out brochures. I'm not, I don't know what I do for a marketing plan. I mean, my marketing plan is my grant, I think, but any ideas?
Well, let's think about it. Who is your target audience? Who are you approaching? Who are you hoping to get buy-in from?
The Georgia Aquarium.
You might do something to give to them.
Okay.
Something cute and catchy. That would be your marketing.
Yeah, YouTube video with, I guess, some kids or.
Oh, that'd be cute.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Let's all
Perfect.
brainstorm. What else?
I don't know, a flyer would be simple, or creating a website that has their faces, or, you know, like random kids' faces. You know how sometimes you can't put the kids from your room in there, but it might be
sure
download from Google.
Mm-hmm.
And
You
just
could have
like
the
a
kids
website
input.
or an announcement or some kind of fun little animated something.
The rugby would be
kids
easy.
like write or draw like little pictures on why they want to go to that aquarium.
Oh.
Right. That
That's
would be the
Do
poster,
it like a
poster
like a
board.
big poster or a huge collage or something like.
Or put them together in a little book, like.
Yeah, like have them like cover their face so that you know you don't have your kids' faces on it because you know, just like have like what they want. My name is Susan and I want to go to the aquarium because I love starfish. You know.
Gotcha. Perfect. Thank you guys, because I was sitting here a little bit stumped.
I'm afraid mine might be boring because it's a book club, but you know, I don't want the book club to be boring or
Because you would be marketing for your participants.
right.
Yes. So you're marketing to kids.
Yeah.
So
Like for
I mean, I
flexible.
could create a brochure, I guess, or for me it would be something that's loud and catchy, like a video or a Google slide, I guess.
How about a rap?
A what?
Ooh, a rap sounds like it'd be fun.
I'm not a good rapper. My sister is. I have to put out there in front of a camera.
Or you could like maybe make like do like a catchy poem or something.
But remember, this is just your written plan.
Right.
The only thing you're actually going to be creative about is your program name and your logo.
Okay.
So, you know, like I was saying about the flexible seating, who do you have to get buy-in from for this?
For flexible seating.
Administrators.
Traders?
Website.
But who has to say, I love that idea?
I had a teacher that said that I work with now that is doing flexible seating with second graders. And she has like little bar stools and such in there, and a little couch and one of those little seats, those little love seat things. The kids love it. She said that they love it. Now I'm a type A, so I have to have you in a seat the way
That's me.
don't move. And then when we have activities where it's your time, then you can move. But until then, you have to stay right there.
You know,
like that too.
seating, I kind of envision, I didn't until you were talking about that, Frankie, is would you rather learn in this or in this?
Yes.
You know, that'd be kind of cool.
That's
You
my
gotta
type A.
Yeah, you've got to get the parent buy-in. You've got to get the other teachers to say, yeah, I like this idea. Of course, administrators. So be thinking about that.
That's pretty cool. That would be like a flyer or a brochure or something.
Or something on the website.
Presentation.
Like, you know, that book that's like, eat this, not that, you know, that's telling you what to eat. It could be sit in this or sit in that.
Yeah.
And give them different options. It's kind of cute.
Taisha?
I've been listening and I've been, my mind just, my dog is acting crazy right now. So that's why I've been on mute. I don't know, he saw something outside. But
I thought you were raising your hand.
Oh no, I was thinking of catchy slogans. I like the rap idea. I'm thinking of having my students be
Oh, we need to get together. You can do the rap
do
for
a
me
little
and
rap
I'll
for
do
me.
the poster.
Because they're always
I'll do
doing
your
little
poster
random
and you
raps
can rap
here
for
and
me.
there.
And I'll just bob my head the whole time.
Be the hype man, I got you.
All
I
right,
definitely
moving
thank
on.
y'all for the ideas because I was kind of wondering. I was actually wondering about the outcome and stuff, but I think once I actually look at the PowerPoint again on my own and work through it, I feel like it'll all come to me.
It will.
Because I was a little nervous while you were reading through it, but I was like, I'll just wait. I don't want to ask questions. I want to try it myself first and then come back if I need to ask.
Here's the one for the kids zone.
That would be really good for the flexible seating. The if this then that. Would you rather this than that? And this is a flyer, right?
It's probably a flyer. Might be a poster. But remember, you only come up with your program name and logo.
Okay. I got that part.
Okay. Not all of this. Look at that cute logo, though.
Cool.
See, this is not me. This is not my strength. I have great ideas, but maybe not so artsy. You know. All right. Somebody. Uh-oh. Don't go away. Okay. This, it says complete a mini marketing presentation. We're not doing the presentation. That was in last year, so don't get caught up on that. But we are going to talk about it at the next thing, at the next class, week 5. So just be prepared to come in, show your logo, talk about your plan, but not a formal presentation. Does that make sense? You're not writing anything out. You're not doing a PowerPoint. But you are going to talk about it so we can all get ideas off of each other. Because I think that really, really helps. So don't get caught up on the presentation.
We're turning the paper into you, the written part, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And that is due June the 3rd. And it's another completion credit.
June the 3rd.
So week 3, that's today. I mean, this is week 3. May 27th, that's your logic model. Week 4, when we don't have class, you have 2 things to do. Your project plan, part 2, steps 1 through 4, and your mini marketing. So all 3 things you're turning on, all completion credit. Which means I have to really give a lot of good feedback. I'm going to stop sharing so everybody can see everybody else. All right. That is it, other than questions. Da, da, da.
I don't have any. This seems clearer to me than what we did last week. I was so confused last week, but this is a little bit clearer. We're taking everything we've talked about and done, putting it in a chart, and then coming up with a cute little something.
Yeah. And you're writing your marketing.
Yes.
And we're writing a what?